guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new here then welcome. So winter is definitely here, and if you live in the UK then today is a really cold and miserable day, and trying to stay warm and cozy in the winter time can sometimes feel impossible without looking really bulky. So today I'm going to share 7 style tips that I use in the winter season that keep me warm and cozy but still stylish and elevated at the same time. So I will say that a lot of these tips are catered for kind of the weather that we have in the UK, which never gets really cold. So we're talking like kind of -5 to -8 is probably the coldest that it tends to get, and most winter it's still in single figures rather than minus. However, I have tried to put in some variations for many of you that live in colder climates, so I hope that you find that helpful. But let's move straight into style tip number 1, which is invisible layering. So for this, the key thing is to wear the warmest layer closest to your body to keep the warmth in. And I always use a thermal long sleeved top or a heat generated top to start my layering off. I like it to be thin so it doesn't feel bulky, because I'll be adding more layers on top of this, and I like it to be super stretchy and comfortable. Most retailers do really good versions, and my favorites are from Uniqlo. They've got a really great heat generated range, and also Marks and Spencer that do really great thermal kind of base layers. Again, if you're in colder climates, then you may also want to add a thermal or heat generated kind of piece at the bottom as well before you put your jeans or your trousers or your skirts on. In the UK, it doesn't feel cold enough to do that, but I have used that when I've been on holidays to places like Iceland, and they just keep you super cozy. Then on top of that, I would layer a knit, like a medium thickness knit. I wouldn't put on a really bulky knit at this stage, because you'd be adding other layers like your coat on top, and you don't want for the whole look to look really bulky. So I would use fabrics such as cashmere or wool or merino wool at this point to layer up over my base layer to keep really warm. Now for me, then adding a coat is usually enough to keep me really lovely and warm. It's amazing how much warmth the base layer does actually keep in, and then adding a knit on top of that and adding a coat on top of that is usually perfect for me. And I tend to use like a long wool coat that has some structure as well, preferably a belt that I can kind of knit myself in at the waist, so I stop myself from looking bulky and it still looks streamlined and elegant. However, like I said, if you do live in colder climates, then you can always add additional layers. So, or under your knit, but over your base layer, you can always add a shirt. If you saw my fashion hacks video, I did a hack where on top of the shirt, I added another vest top to keep it from looking bulky and keep it streamlined. But again, that adds yet another layer, and then put your knit on top of that. Again, you can always add a blazer under your coat and over your knits. Just make sure that it's not really oversized, because otherwise it'll create a lot of bulk under your coat, but something maybe a little bit more tailored. These are all options depending on how cold it is where you live or how cold you actually feel or get. Now for me, as a perimenopausal woman, I can get really hot quite quickly, so I like to have layers that I can take off, but I really make sure that I'm wearing layers with intention. So I know that if I need to take a layer off when I'm indoors, I know that that whole outfit is still going to look polished and put together. So I don't forget about the layers that are underneath, because I may need to remove some layers. So just make sure that you layer with intention. Also, a really good tip is if you're in the office, for example, and you're feeling cold, obviously you're not going to have your coat on in the office. Rather than grabbing a really oversized bulky cardigan to wrap yourself up in, think a little bit outside the box. So I like to wear like a cashmere cape. I think it looks super elegant. It's also very much on trend at the moment, but it's a classic as far as I'm concerned. It looks super elegant and it keeps you really warm without getting in the way, but still keeps your outfit looking really put together and cohesive. Or even like a nice pashmina or a scarf that you can still put on over your outfit and keep the warmth in around your neck without having to grab really bulky layers. So moving on to tip number 2, and that's texture, and especially really good luxe looking textures. I think winter is definitely the season where you can elevate your look by mixing really beautiful fabrics and textures. I find that wearing a winter outfit in one texture, and especially if it's something synthetic like polyester, really can make an outfit look really dull and uninteresting. If you want your outfits to look expensive, then look for good quality fabrics like wool, cashmere, boucle, suede, all perfect winter fabrics that can be mixed together to create outfits that are cozy but still full of depth and interest. When you mix textures, the outfit can be really simple, but mixing those textures together makes it look so much more elevated and polished. In the example I'm showing you, I've got a brown pair of woolen trousers that have like a really faint blue pinstripe running through them, and then I paired them with this beautiful wool cardigan in the same shade of blue to bring it all together. Winter tends to actually be when I may add a little bit more color, and adding something like a lovely blue brings the whole look together. And then I've just added on a beautiful trench coat over the top, and I think that outfit looks really elevated. Or another example is that you could always add something like a beautiful knit on a faux leather skirt, for example, with some leather boots. I just think that that mix between the high and low makes the outfit look super chic and elegant, but still really cozy at the same time. Guys, can you hear the rain? It's absolutely pouring outside, and it's so dark, and it's only early afternoon, so I've had to put a lot of lights on. So yeah, I hope the picture's okay because there's quite a bit of artificial light at the moment. But anyway, let's move on to tip number 3, and that's wearing the right coat. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you know I've talked about this an awful lot. I think it's so easy to ruin a perfectly beautifully put together outfit by wearing the wrong coat. I can't tell you how many times I've seen women take real care in their outfit and then just grab the same coat regardless of what they're wearing, and that completely ruins the outfit. Just remember that in winter, your coat pretty much is the outfit, especially when you're out and about. People don't see what you've got on inside your coat or underneath your coat. All they're focusing on is the outer layer. So really think about the coat that you're wearing with your outfit in terms of material, in terms of the color. Does it go with your outfit? Does it brighten up your outfit? I feel that everyone should have at least one long wool coat or wool blend coat in their wardrobe. It's the ultimate piece for everyday chic and keeps you warm at the same time. It instantly elevates any outfit, whether it's for work, whether it's meetings, whether it's lunches. It's perfect to elevate an outfit for any occasion that you need to feel polished for. But of course, your coat does need to reflect your lifestyle. And I totally appreciate that you don't want to be wearing your best wool coat when you're out walking the dog, running errands, doing school runs. And also, if you're in a colder climate, I still have my Barber puffer coat, which I absolutely love. And I do wear that still when I'm going on walks, when I'm running errands, but I still wear that with intention. So I will still think about what I'm wearing underneath it and how the coat and the outfit goes together. In this example, I've got a pair of black jeans on, some riding boots, a really lovely white cozy knit on, and then I've got my puffer coat on top of that. And I think that still looks really cute because I've kind of thought about what I'm wearing, and then I've styled it up with a white beanie on top, and that just pulls the whole look together. So yes, you can wear your practical coats. I know it's not always practical to wear a beautiful wool long coat, but do still style it intentionally and think about your layers so that when you do take your coat off, your layers still look put together, and when you have your coat over the top, it doesn't look over bulky. Now, I actually think ideally you need at least 2 coats in your wardrobe. You need a kind of more dressy, long line wool coat, and you need something a bit more practical for to suit your everyday lifestyle. You know, even though I have some practical things that I do in my life, like walking, like running errands, I would still never wear the long puffer coat on an evening out when I want to look elevated, for example. So regardless of the climate that you live in, it's still a good idea to have a nice elevated coat that you can wear when you're going out for dinner or to an event, as well as having your practical coat for your everyday lifestyle. And of course, if you prefer short coats, you can also have a short coat. I just think that if I was going to have one luxe or one elevated piece in my wardrobe, then I would have a long wool coat, because I think that just looks really polished, and also I find it a lot more flattering. It just creates that illusion of length. It makes your whole outfit look really streamlined. It's a great way of being able to cinch in your waist and give you some shape as well. So a long coat will always be my option if I was to just choose one elevated coat in my wardrobe. Okay, so moving on to start at number 4, and that's knee-high boots, which is your winter friend. I love a pair of knee-high boots in winter, and it allows me to wear my autumn clothes throughout winter just by layering it up. So I will wear some thermal leggings or some thermal tights under my skirt or my dress, and then I will maybe put on a pair of socks or thermal socks, and then I will add my boots on top, because obviously nobody can see what you're wearing underneath your boots, and your outfit's likely to cover your layers under your boots anyway. Just such a great way of elevating your everyday look. You know, again, even if you were going to an occasion like for Christmas or a nice dinner, it's just a really lovely option to have, rather than having to wear your jeans or trousers all the time just because it's winter. But you can layer on under your skirt or your dress, add your knee-high boots, which always I think can make an outfit look really chic and elevated, and then you'll be ready for your daytime or your evening events and still look really polished. Now, I'm not saying ankle boots don't have a place in your winter wardrobe. Of course they do, and I have a few pairs of those. However, I tend to wear them more with trousers. So if we're looking at a kind of a piece that is both cozy and warm and is really elevated as well, the knee-high boots are my absolute go-to. And guys, if you do wear your ankle boots, please don't wear them with your skirts and dresses, especially where there's a gap between the end of the skirt and the start of the boot, because it just looks so unflattering. It cuts you off at the most unflattering parts of your legs. So if you are going to wear your skirts and dresses, then do make sure that they cover the top of your boots. And that moves me on perfectly to style tip number 5, which is still wearing your dresses and your skirts over winter, but doing it again with layering. Wearing your skirts and dresses allows you to wear your autumn wardrobe, for example, throughout winter. It, number 1, saves you money, so you don't have to go out and buy loads of new clothes for the season. It looks really elevated, and you can wear it to daytime events or evening events, and you have the option again to layer underneath them to keep them warm and cozy. So with my dress, I have again my base thermal layer on top, I have my tights on the bottom, I have another pair of socks, and then I have my boots, and then I have my coat. Still looks really, really elevated. I absolutely love wearing kind of midi knit dresses, or even a short dress with kind of thermal tights and knee-high boots and a coat. I think it look really chic and elevated, but again, like I said, keeping yourself cozy. And I know I keep repeating that again, keeping yourself cozy. It is the objective of the whole video, to keep yourself cozy while looking elevated. But these style tips are easy and realistic ways of being able to do that. So style tip number 6, and that's monochrome outfit. Guys, I promise you, there is nothing that's going to make your outfits look more expensive instantly than wearing an all tonal outfit. And it doesn't even have to be exactly the same color, it just needs to be in the same tone. It's just amazing how it can instantly elevate your outfit and just look really elegant, and for some reason look really expensive. Now, I'm a neutrals girl, so I tend to stick to neutral monochrome colors. You know, whether that's like things in a camel shade, or my absolute favorite is winter whites. I think that looks so expensive and elegant. Definitely try it, but that can be all black if black's your color, that can be all black, brown. Just try to put together an outfit in very similar tones, and I promise you that will make your look so much more elevated. In the example I'm showing you, I've got just a pair of white trousers on, a white cashmere knit and a white coat over the top. And I think that looks really elegant and chic, and I could wear that to work, I could wear that in the evening for drinks, I could wear that for lunch. It's still a lovely and cozy outfit, but I think it looks really, really beautiful. And moving on to my last style tip, and that's to wear 1 or maximum 2 accessories or luxe accessories to style your outfit. Now, I think we all know how important styling your outfit is and how much accessories add to that. There's a big difference between just wearing your outfits and styling your outfits, and I think winter is a really good time to do that because you're all wrapped up, because you can't really see what you're wearing underneath your outer garments. I think adding those additional pieces really elevates your outfit, but still adds to that cozy feeling. So for example, wearing a beautiful cashmere or wool scarf over your coat looks really elegant, keeps you really cozy, or just other pieces that will elevate your overall outfit. So a nice pair of earrings or a beautiful belt that you can nip in your waist to, so you can get some structure without looking really bulky, or even just a pair of beautiful leather gloves. All of these little pieces really instantly elevates an outfit and draws one's eye to that outfit. Sometimes you just look at somebody and they look really elegant and you don't know the reason why. Next time you see somebody that you think looks really elegant, look at their entire outfit. I would pretty much guarantee that they have some form of accessory on their outfit that really stands out. Now, again, I wouldn't overdo. I would definitely not have more than 2. Even 1 is perfectly fine, but I would always add 1 piece or 2 pieces to my overall outfit. Even a structured bag is a luxe looking accessory that really instantly elevates your outfit. So just thinking about those little pieces will just add to the overall effect of your outfit and keep you looking beautiful and chic all winter long. So guys, that's all my tips today. I hope you enjoyed the video and you got some inspiration. And again, if you do live in colder climates, I hope you do find some tips from some of my variations. If you did like the video, guys, then do give me a thumbs up. And if you are new here, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel for some more styling tips coming up in the near future. Thanks again for watching, guys, and take care. See you again soon. Bye.